addiction. They could go 4 or 5 days without it. They could, you know what I mean? They don't have to use every day. They feeling on top of the world because they're not in methadone programs or any of these other programs for like drug replacements and this. So they feeling themselves, you know what I mean? And in that moment, it's the hardest to tell that person anything. It's the hardest to tell them anything because whatever you tell them, not only they're gonna have something slick to say to you and a very good logic against it, but they're young. You can't tell a youngin' nothing. You cannot tell. The only youngin' that you're gonna be able to tell something to is one with a wise soul, and that's very rare nowadays. You know what I mean? And that's just the honesty of it. You know, I want to target now the younger population because, like, honestly, man. If I would have got the help, if I would have had the right person come up to me when I was 11, 12, 13 years old in the group home, not just tell me, yo, you better shape up because when you out there, you assed out. Not tell me like that, but like, look, this is what's gonna happen, man. You think I'm joking, but look, this happened to me like this. You know what I mean? I never had a staff share their experience with me. You understand? Like, directly, like, let me into their life. You know what I mean? This is what I'm willing to do with these kids. You know what I mean? I noticed one thing when my time doing the YDU health coordination is that, yeah, I could grab somebody my age, right? And I could try to give that message to them, but there's two things they're gonna think. One, you my age, what the hell could you tell me? Two, you don't know what the hell I'm going through. You understand? Like, that's literally what they're gonna tell you, but that's not the truth of any of it. You know what I mean? Like, half them people when I used to be in St. Anne's didn't know that at that time I was still using. St. Anne's hired me when I was in the streets. Like, I went from St. Anne's working to the train station, like in the streets, like, and then back to St. Anne's early, 8 in the morning, so that Tino could let me take a shower and then I could start my day. They ain't know that because you want to know something? I wasn't the type to let anybody like lash out on them. Like, that's what I was doing when I was on K2. And like, who I got behind me now? You understand what I mean? Like, that's not the way that I want to go. You know what I mean? But I couldn't let them know, like, look, fam, like, this is what I'm, you know what I mean? Like, only the few participants that, when I was a participant that I used to talk to, knew who, you know, what was going on. They never, you know, but every other participant, like, they'll think that I'm looking at them, like, through the outside, you know, not knowing that I'm going through this right now. Sure. I've been going through this since 2008. You know, when I first became homeless in 2008, I was homeless for 3 years in the street. Not homeless in the shelter, I'm talking about homeless in the street. You understand what I mean? Like, I'm just now, this is the most, these 6, 7 months, 8 months, is the most consistent that I've ever been, like, you know, as far as stability. You know, like, I've always been, like, always in a fucked up position, always something. If it wasn't financially, it was fucking with my friends. You know what I mean? Always something going on, you know what I mean? It was like a certain mental click, though. Like, we can't really be doing the same thing. Honestly, we can't be doing the same thing. I told my people, though, I got fired from my job. They said, you ain't slap. I was like, and then I would have been back to square one. You know what I mean? Like, but this is because this is how they know me. This is how they know me since I was in the group home. Jose, the hothead. Yeah, he a midget, but he'll knock you out. That sucks. That sucks when you actually in a button up and you got some slacks on, shoes, and you with your supervisor, and that same person like, yo, you still knocking people out? And you know what I mean? You know how many times that happened when I'm with my supervisor? I'm like, fam, this is my supervisor. Oh, not my fault, yo, this motherfucker crazy. It's like, damn, son, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be looked at like that. You know what I mean? Like, forever.
The reputation followed you.
You know what I mean? Like, and then at the end of the day, what does a fighting reputation give you? Nah, let me stay away from this dude. I'd rather be that person that they be like, yo, son, don't talk to that nigga. He can tell you some shit, trust me. I'd rather that any day of the week. Any day of the week. But you want to know something? It took St. Anne's to get me to that frame of mind. Because before I stepped into there, that's just the type of shit I was on. 28 years old and all of that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that was just a short time away, but that's just to show you how much I learned out of St. Anne's. Like the shit that they put in your mind, like just the harm reduction shit, the stuff that you hear, see. I seen like one dude my age, he was 28. You know what I mean? Like pencil stick skinny. You know what I mean? I asked him, I intaked him myself, and he was part of my YIDU because he was under